So, let me start from the very beginning. I never thought I'd be the guy writing a long post about how I learned English in 5 months. Honestly, I used to think English was just for other people, people who traveled, studied abroad, or had rich parents paying for tutors. None of that was me. But last year, everything flipped upside down. My girlfriend at the time, now my ex, but we'll get into that mess later, pushed me to apply for a job that required English. "It'll change our lives," she said. She made it sound like we were in this together, like she believed in me more than I did in myself. That night, I went to bed replaying her words, but I also had this weird gut feeling, like she had another reason for pushing me. I ignored it, stupid me. The next morning, I woke up and made a decision. 5 months. I was going to dedicate 5 months of my life to mastering English, no matter what. No excuses. No laziness. Just pure grind. What I didn't know then was that learning English wouldn't just change my career, it would expose a betrayal I wasn't ready for. Once I made the decision, I went all in. I built this insane routine that honestly felt like military training. I'd wake up at 5 a.m., headphones in, listening to English podcasts while brushing my teeth. Breakfast? English YouTube videos. On the bus? English audiobooks. At night, I'd literally dream in broken English sentences. My friends thought I'd lost it. They'd call me out like, "Bro, you sound like a bad Google Translate." I didn't care. I repeated words out loud walking down the street like a maniac. I embarrassed myself daily, but weirdly enough, I started to enjoy it. Every mistake was like a punch in the face that made me stronger. Meanwhile, my girlfriend kept telling me, "Wow, you're changing. I like this new you." And for a while, I believed her. Her encouragement kept me going on the hardest days, especially when my brain felt like it was melting from grammar rules. But looking back, her support had this strange energy behind it. She wasn't proud of me. She was invested in me getting better fast. And at the time, I didn't understand why. About 6 weeks in, something wild happened. I was sitting in a cafe, headphones on, trying to follow this random English news clip. Suddenly, I realized I wasn't just catching words anymore. I was actually understanding the meaning. Like, full sentences clicked in my brain for the first time. It felt like someone had opened a door I didn't even know existed. I wanted to stand up and scream, "I get it. I get it now." But I just sat there with this dumb grin on my face, probably looking like a lunatic. That same evening, I rushed home to tell my girlfriend. I expected her to be proud, maybe even celebrate with me. But instead, she looked distracted. She barely reacted. Just a flat, "That's good, babe," while glued to her phone. I brushed it off, telling myself she was just tired. But deep inside, that first little crack in my trust appeared. I had worked so hard for this tiny victory, and she didn't seem to care. I didn't know it yet, but that was the first sign something ugly was brewing behind the scenes. As my English improved, I started to notice other things in the house. Not about me, but about her. She was getting a lot of late-night phone calls. At first, I didn't think much of it. She said it was work stuff, and because I trusted her, I believed it. But one night, while I was practicing English by watching an interview, I caught her whispering in the kitchen. I paused the video, and I swear, I heard her say something in English. Her English wasn't even that good. That caught me off guard. I walked in, and she froze like a kid caught stealing candy. "Who was that?" I asked. She smiled nervously and said, "Oh, just my cousin. He's practicing his English too." It didn't sit right with me, but I was so focused on my own learning grind that I shoved the doubt aside. My brain kept telling me, "Don't get distracted. Focus on your goal." But in my gut, I knew something wasn't adding up. Around the 3rd month, I joined this local language exchange group, basically a mix of foreigners and locals practicing English together. I was nervous as hell, but also excited. It felt like my big test. Could I actually hold a real conversation? The first session went surprisingly well. I stumbled, sure, but people understood me. That little taste of progress felt like a drug. Afterward, I stayed behind to chat with a couple of members, and that's when the bomb dropped. One of the guys, tall, American accent, way too confident, asked me, "Hey, are you dating Anna?" "That's my girlfriend's name." I froze. "Yeah, why?" He smirked and said, "Oh, cool. I didn't know she had a boyfriend. We've been talking a lot lately." She's really into improving her English too. My stomach sank. My ears rang. In that moment, it wasn't just about English anymore. It was like my entire world shifted, and I suddenly realized why she had been pushing me so hard to learn. That night, I couldn't sleep. My head was spinning with everything the guy at the exchange had said. She's really into improving her English too. Those words echoed like a knife in my chest. Suddenly, her late-night calls, her flat reactions to my progress, even that awkward moment in the kitchen, all of it started to make sense. She wasn't just helping me improve, she was learning alongside someone else. I tried to tell myself I was being paranoid. Maybe the guy misunderstood. Maybe he was exaggerating. But my gut said otherwise. I decided to test something. The next evening, I asked her casually, "Hey, want to come to the language exchange with me next week?" She froze, then quickly shook her head. No, that's your thing. I'd just get in the way. That was the confirmation I didn't want. My English was improving fast, but at the same time, I was uncovering a truth that hurt more than any grammar mistake ever could. I couldn't take it anymore. The lies, the late-night whispers, the fake encouragement, it was eating me alive. So one night, I just confronted her. I remember standing in the living room, my voice shaking, and I asked, "Who's the guy from the exchange group?" Her face went pale. She tried to laugh it off, but I pressed harder. "Don't lie to me, Anna. I know you've been talking to him." Finally, she snapped. "So what if I did? At least he listens to me in English. You're so obsessed with your stupid routine that you don't even see me anymore." Those words cut deep. I had been breaking my back to build a future for us, grinding every single day, and she was turning my hard work into some twisted excuse. I just stood there, numb, my brain juggling English vocabulary and betrayal at the same time. Funny thing, at that moment, I realized I understood every cruel word she said perfectly. After that fight, the truth started leaking out in pieces. She admitted she had been meeting him at cafes to practice English. At first, she swore it was just conversations. But I knew better. You don't hide conversations with your language partner from your boyfriend unless there's something more. The worst part? She used the same lines with him that she once used with me. I found out through a mutual friend that she bragged about how fast he was helping her learn. I felt sick. It wasn't about English anymore. It was about her chasing excitement with someone new, while I was pouring every ounce of energy into becoming better for us. I remember sitting on my bed that night, surrounded by grammar books and notebooks, staring at the words I had written down earlier: trust, loyalty, commitment. They suddenly felt like foreign words all over again, even though I had learned them perfectly. That's when anger hit me, hot, sharp, and unstoppable. The anger lit something inside me. Instead of breaking down completely, I doubled down on my English. I treated every new word, every phrase, every conversation like ammunition. If she thought I was going to crumble, she was dead wrong. I started speaking more confidently at the language exchange. People noticed. They said, "Man, your progress is insane." And I'll be real, every compliment was like fuel. While she was sneaking around, I was leveling up. One night, I even bumped into her language partner again. This time, I looked him straight in the eye and held a full-on conversation in English. He seemed shocked, like he didn't expect me to actually get there. And for the first time, I felt like the stronger one. But here's the crazy part. The better my English got, the clearer I saw my relationship for what it was. And the truth hurt more than any grammar test ever could. It all came crashing down one Friday night. She told me she was going to study with a friend. My gut screamed otherwise. So, against every instinct to just avoid the pain, I followed her. Sure enough, I found her sitting in a cafe with him. Not just talking, not just studying. They were leaning close, laughing, touching hands like they were in some cheesy romance movie. My heart felt like it had been ripped out of my chest. But weirdly, my brain was calm. Maybe because I had rehearsed this scene in my head so many times already. I walked up to them, and in perfect English, I said, "So this is your study partner, huh?" The guy's smirk disappeared instantly. She went pale, stammering, "It's not what it looks like." But I didn't need to hear excuses anymore. I had my answer right there in front of me. That was the night I knew the relationship was over. The days after the breakup were brutal. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck, shock, anger, sadness, all mixed together in a toxic cocktail. I couldn't eat properly, I couldn't sleep, and every time my phone buzzed, I braced for bad news. But here's the twist. I also started noticing something amazing. My English, which had been a tool for a job, had become a lifeline. I could read articles, write my thoughts, and even talk to strangers without stumbling. For the first time, I realized I had built something for myself, not for her approval. I threw myself into my studies, and weirdly, every heartbreak-fueled practice session made me faster, sharper, more confident. That pain, as awful as it was, became fuel. I started journaling in English every night. Feelings, dreams, frustrations, everything. And with every word, I felt a little lighter. Around the 5th month, something incredible happened. I applied for the job she had pushed me toward at the very beginning. The position required strong English skills, and I honestly didn't know if I was ready. During the interview, I spoke fluently, confidently, and naturally. I even used phrases I had struggled with months ago. The interviewers smiled, nodded, and asked for more examples, and I gave them effortlessly. A week later, I got the call. I got the job. And in that moment, I realized something huge. I hadn't just learned English in 5 months. I had transformed my entire life. I had taken betrayal, heartbreak, and frustration and turned it into growth. The irony? The very person who had hurt me had unknowingly pushed me to reach my full potential. After I started the new job, I had a lot of time to think. The betrayal still stung, of course, some days more than others. But I began to see it differently. Her actions had been cruel. Yes, but they also forced me to step up, to challenge myself, to learn not just English, but resilience. I realized that pain and growth are often tangled together. If I hadn't been hurt, I might still be stuck, hesitant, and unsure of myself. I started sharing my story with close friends and even some coworkers. I told them about the heartbreak, the late nights studying, and how it all came together. People were surprised. Most didn't expect someone to turn such a toxic situation into success. But I guess that's what happens when you focus on building yourself instead of clinging to someone else's approval. Looking back, I've learned a lot about English, about relationships, and about myself. First, determination can take you further than talent alone. 5 months of consistent effort turned me from someone who could barely form a sentence into someone who could confidently communicate in English. Second, trust is fragile. I realized that no matter how much you give, some people won't honor it. And that's not your fault, it's theirs. Finally, heartbreak can be a teacher. Pain forced me to grow faster, to push harder, and to focus on my own goals instead of waiting for someone else's approval. I wish I could tell my past self one thing. Invest in yourself first. Everything else will follow. Now, 5 months later, I'm working in a job I love, speaking English fluently, and honestly, feeling proud of myself in a way I never imagined. That betrayal still stings sometimes, but it no longer controls me. I've realized that learning English wasn't just about grammar or vocabulary. It was about discovering my own strength. Every late night, every frustrating mistake, every heartbreak-fueled study session built a version of me I'm proud of. So, if you're reading this and struggling, whether it's learning a language, healing from betrayal, or chasing a goal that seems impossible, here's my advice. Commit fully, push past the pain, and focus on yourself. You'll be amazed at what you can achieve when you turn obstacles into fuel. And one last thing. Don't let anyone dim your growth. If someone doesn't respect your effort or your progress, let them go. Life is too short to give your energy to the wrong people. That's my story. 5 months. Heartbreak, betrayal, growth, and a whole new life.